Ocean's Pit, the little show about big things. How are we all doing this afternoon? I hope you guys are doing great. Seems like it's another crazy day for Friday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. No jokes today, folks. I have no jokes for you today since it's April Fool's Day, but we're starting to get into some warmer weather. So let's hope soon we'll be out in the spring again and running around in pools and running around outside, so stuff like that. We got a great show lined up for you guys today. First of all, folks, check the bottom of the page there, TonyOceanMusic.com. Give us a call at 847-769-8609 to book a show, and we got a lot of great things to talk about today. I want to thank you all yesterday for tuning into our two-year anniversary as here at Ocean's Pit. We started back in 2020. During the pandemic with nothing else to do. We started by the fire pit outside, and next thing you know, it got sponsors and stuff like that. So now we got into the studio, and we're going here for 2 years. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. And every show is dedicated to the first responders. Thank you for all you guys do. And the format hasn't changed. If you just joined the show, folks, it is Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We have guests on. Tuesday is a call-in Tuesday, and folks, Thursday is my lovely co-host. My wife Laura is my co-host. So we keep going. We like to have all different sorts of people on, and we got a great show for you today. But before we get into details, folks, let's thank our number one sponsor for today. Of course, we got McCampbell Law Group right there at the bottom of the screen. McCampbell Law Group. Roy McCampbell, attorney at law, a statewide law practice that is client-focused and results-driven. That's Roy McCampbell. Give him a call. He's a great lawyer, a great guy, and he won't do you wrong, man. He's a great guy to have in your pocket. 708-275-4264. That's McCampbell Law. And let's not forget our other good buddies at Airtight Windows. That's Airtight Windows Siding Specialist, family-owned for 30 years. For honesty and quality, you do it right with Airtight Windows. Give our buddy Lou a call at 708-788-5000. Now, folks, let's thank some other cigar sponsors. Don Esteban Cigars right out of Tarpon Springs, Florida. They will deliver those hand-rolled cigars right to your home, folks. Call my good buddy Javier at 727-366-7536. That's Don Esteban Cigars. Now, if you got us on Facebook, you can also check us out on Twitter. There's the bottom of the screen. Follow us on Twitter. And also, we need you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can see us, Ocean's Pit, also on the YouTube channel right there at the bottom of the screen. YouTube with Tony Ocean. Join the screen there. So, a lot of good things to talk about today. I want to thank everybody for showing up last night to Zaza's Cucina in Park Ridge. A nice little crowd for the snow that it was. A little shitty night it was weather-wise, but thank you, General, and everybody for coming out last night. Lou, thank you so much for that. Joe Sisto and his crew do a great job there. So tonight we'll be at Chicago Prime Steakhouse with the return of Rhino Ryan. Ryan is back to work. So he'll be with us tonight at Chicago Prime Steakhouse in Schaumburg. That's at 8 o'clock hit. Tomorrow we'll be at River Cafe in River Grove with Rhino Ryan, Tony Toto. It's going to be a lot of fun. And special guest, my two good buddies from my brand new band called Mojo's Jukebox, Mike Restivo and Marty the Hitman. So it's going to be a lot of fun. That's tomorrow night at River Cafe in River Grove. Now, folks, we got the big show coming up. That's right, the big show. 30 years as Tony Ocean. We are celebrating May 29th. That's Sunday, May 29th at the Des Plaines Theater in Des Plaines, Illinois. I can't wait. It's going to be great. Not only do I have Nick Hodges in the piano band of a 10-piece band that we have the Jersey Girls. We have the Rat Pack. We have Dream Police, Mojo's, Regina Karma, Diva Montel, Lisa Peterson, Kim Peterson LeFew, Jack D'Amico, Matt Cassane, and the list goes on and on. It's going to be a great show Sunday, May 29th, celebrating my 30 years as Tony Ocean. To get tickets, go to oshows.com. oshows.com. So, and we got a great guest on today. My good friend, Patty Gramosa Reed is on. She was a former Chicago Honey Bear. We're going to talk about how the Honey Bears got to where they were at one particular time, how she was a member of the Honey Bears, what happened to the Honey Bears, and a great story about stuff that's going on with that. It's all based on a brand new book Well, the book's been out for a while called Missing from the Sidelines. And there's a bunch of great story about Patty in here and a lot of other people and how the Honey Bears were huge and all over the world. They loved it with the Chicago Bears. And, of course, after a very short time, they kind of disbanded. So we're going to find out the mystery behind all that in a few minutes. Anyway, folks, it's time to go to show. So let's go to work.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ocean's Pit, the little show about big things. And now, your host, Mr. Tony Ocean.
Thank you, guys, and thank you, Nelson Santiago and the Expensive Winos. You're watching Ocean's Pit, the little show about things. It's Friday, April 1st, and we got a lot of great stuff to talk about today. I got a bad neck ache. You ever wake up with a bad neck ache? The last 2 days, man, I almost couldn't move my neck. Last night's show was just give me the point every time I try to hit those high notes. And I tried everything. So we got a patch on it today. Let's see what happens. If not, tomorrow I'm going to have to go to the chiropractor and get that done. Because usually I don't have a bad my neck problems usually don't happen too much. It just happens maybe in the morning. It'll hurt a little bit sometimes, and then it'll go away. But it's been the last 2 days has been pretty tough, folks. All right, a couple other things before we bring our guest on. Next Thursday we'll be at Zaza's Cucina, and that's going to be in Zaza's in South Barrington. That's next Thursday night. Next Friday back at Chicago Prime. Next Saturday we'll be at Tavern on the Point in Edison Park. And next Sunday, back by Ron Onesti's Club Arcata Speakeasy, Sinatra Sunday in St. Charles. That's next Sunday on the 10th. Let's see who we got watching here today. Helen Tenuta, I hope you're doing well, Helen. I think to your father, happy birthday to your father. Marion, Don is in the book. We have a lot of fun things with the girls. All right. So Don, of course, who does the number one Mike Ditka impersonator, is also mentioned in this book. And we had Don on the show. Marion, thanks for watching. Kathy Eppolito, Ronnie B, how you guys doing today? Folks, we got a lot of great people on today. We got San Diego watching. We got our friends from Wisconsin. We have Illinois, of course. We have our good friends from Ohio. Santa Barbara, California. Thank you, Kathy. You guys are best. Luann, all the way from New York City, watching today. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and making this show successful as it is. Yesterday was our 2-year anniversary at Ocean's Pit. So thank you, Deanna. Thank you guys so much. Kathy, Helen, hope you guys are doing well. All right. So, Lori, I remember the Honey Bears. Yeah, who does not remember the Honey Bears, man? It was great having them on the sidelines. And, of course, some interesting questions I got to ask. You know, it had to be difficult sometimes when you have all these beautiful girls on the sidelines. And, you know, the guys are trying to play football and trying to keep, concentrating on the game and a lot of other stuff. It's interesting. I read some of the stories from the different Honey Bears here. So I'm so happy to have Pat come. So I'm very excited about that. Alan, how you doing? Tony Toto, see you tomorrow. Good. Michael Sansone, it's great seeing you guys here today. Danny Mazzi, how you doing? Also want to thank our friends from Hardcore Italians. That's right. We need you to go to Hardcore Italians Chicago and like the page. Going to be one of our new sponsors coming up starting in another week or so. Hardcore Italians, ladies and gentlemen. Go to Hardcore Italians Chicago and like the page. All right. With any other further ado, let me just show you a couple of pictures right here. This is a beautiful picture, folks. Patty Ross actually was her stage name, and there she was when she was a Honey Bear. So we got one of her pictures here. It was nice enough to Patty to send me this stuff before she was on the show. Here's another picture actually in action, right on the sidelines there. Chicago Bears Honey. You got to love that, man. Very cool. All right, so without any further ado, let's get down to business here, folks. From the book called Missing from the Sidelines, the untold story of the Chicago Bears NFL cheerleaders, of course. And there's going to be a lot of great questions we're going to ask. So let's bring around our good friend, Patty Gramosa Reed. Patty, how are you? Let's get her on, see if she's on. Hi, Patty.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
First of all, it's nice to see you during the day. It's nice to see you during the day.
Right. Always at night.
Always at night. First of all, how are you doing?
Very well. Thank you. Really good. And I want to congratulate you and Laura on your anniversary. That's
Well, thank you.
wonderful.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. It's people were getting confused. It was the show's anniversary, 2 years that we were on
Oh, it was
Ocean's
the
Pit. Yeah,
shows.
the show's anniversary of 2 years. Me
Oh,
and my wife had a 5-year anniversary a couple months back. So thank
oh
you
my
for
God.
that, by the way. Yeah. So it's been
Okay.
2 years that we
That's
started.
wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
As we're trying, we are trying. Thank you for being
Good
on the show,
job.
folks. Patty, are you in Chicago? Where are you at? You on vacation? Where are you at right now?
I'm in Barrington, Illinois.
Barrington,
Yes.
Illinois. Of course, we
Yes.
know that town very well.
Uh-huh.
First of all, this is wow, interesting life that you had with some of these. Besides being a model actress, going through the stuff, you Mrs. Doing commercials for Harris Bank and a lot of those gym, and you were the Dodge girl, very cool, Northeast Dodge girl. A lot of stuff that you had going on over here. You appeared in a couple great movies, of course, Code of Silence with Chuck Norris, which is pretty cool. And of course, one of my favorite movies of all time, the movie Thief with James Kahn, James Belushi, and you played his wife, Marie. And you got just an interesting story. And not only your story, but the story, of course, of the Honey Bears. It's amazing how that. So let's get down before we get into the business. Patty, where were you born?
Chicago, Illinois, northwest side of Chicago.
Very, very cool. And you have a big family, Patty?
It's not that big. I've got my father, my sister, my brother, my cousins. I have cousins in Arizona, cousins in Minnesota. So it's not that big. I have 5 nieces and nephews, and we're all pretty close.
Well, that's kind of cool. It's very important. Now, you see a lot of women out there, and they try to get into that field of acting, modeling. Not an easy job at all. So where did that spring onto you before we get to the whole Honey Bears thing, the modeling, and where did it all come from? How did it come, and how did that work?
Well, one morning I was going to get some coffee. I put on a t-shirt and jeans, and there was a man, and he was wonderful, him and his wife. And they said, "Oh, can we take your picture? We're photographers." I said, "Okay." Well, when I went to have my picture taken, I brought half the neighborhood with me because I didn't know who this guy was.
Sure.
They took my picture, and him and his wife gave me advice where to send the pictures to the modeling agencies. And they start calling me. I was like 17, 18 years old. And they start calling me, and I jumped on it. I thought I wanted to work, and I was getting photo shoots. I was getting conventions. I had been taking dancing. After that, people asked me to do commercials. I did commercials. I started studying acting at St. Nicholas Steppenwolf Theater, worked out of Second City. I'm very blessed. My first TV show was The Duke with Bob Conrad.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was
Bob
in
Conrad.
Yeah, and Crime Stories. I was in that. I was in a lot of
Crime
movies.
Story, one of my favorites too. Dennis Farina, of course. It was a great TV show, and it should have went farther than it did. Unfortunately, I think when they moved to Las Vegas, it kind of changed the show. Right? They should have stayed in Chicago. It would have been good.
Right. So people have been very, very good to me in Chicago. I've been very blessed.
The career that you had is unbelievable. Now you're trying to make it as a model actress. Your agent goes, "Hey, you get more work if you got Miss in front of your name, like maybe Miss Illinois or Miss, Pumpkin Fest or whatever it was." So you come up with this great idea called Miss Flame. And then all of a sudden, you get an appointment with Mayor Richard Daley to push your idea. That was really cool. How did that all come about?
Well, I thought, here I am from the neighborhood, Northwest Side. I thought nobody down there knows me. So I thought I'm going to go see the mayor and try and get this job. Well, I did. I was with the secretary, and the mayor happened to come out of the office. And I introduced myself, and the secretary said, "We were trying to stop her." And he said, no, don't stop her. What do you got to say? He was kind of a gruff fella, and I was just a kid.
Right.
And I told him my idea, we got the commissioner, the fire commissioner himself. They took me to lunch, and that was it. I would always be at all the graduations. I was in with the on the fire trucks. I was very blessed. Everybody he said he liked my chutzpah.
There you go. And that was
Chutzpah.
it.
And
Yeah.
so I was very blessed with that too. Everybody in Chicago was really good to me. Really
Well, you
good.
know
All
what?
I wanted to do was work.
Oh, you did. And you know what? People see that at a young age. You're hungry. You know, you're eager. People see that. They know you're not just trying to waste time. You're trying to get to that next level to do what you got to do. You did a lot of great stuff. Now, all of a sudden, now you're with the family. Now you have a brother that gives you some shit and says, hey, I'm going to bet you $10 that you can't. And when I read the story, it was funny. All because of your brother betting you $10 that you couldn't become a honey bear. Is that a true story?
That's absolutely true. And he bet me $10. Instead of encouraging me, he's betting me $10. I can't do it. I thought I'm going to do it. When they interviewed me, when I was a cheerleader, when they interviewed me for that, they said, why did you want to become a cheerleader? And when you're on the spot like that, I can't fib. I told them
Sure.
the truth. All of a sudden, everybody looked at each other. They started laughing. And I became a cheerleader. So yeah, Stephen bet me that $10. I won.
And you won.
I won
And you
that.
know what? Now that first of all, the cheerleading thing was big, but when you get into sports like that, of course, the Honey Bears, of course, the Dallas cheerleaders, and Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. There was first of all, what was the procedure like? It had to be a lot of hard work, right? Because how many girls you probably auditioned for this?
Oh, Tony, there were so many girls and they were beautiful. I thought if I screw up during the auditions, I just kept smiling. I thought I want to be here. If it's meant to be, it's going to be. And the girls were stunning. Here I am. I'm like the girl next door. I just wanted to dance and do
Sure.
my thing. And it was very grueling. When we did make the squad, we had to work out. We had to, that was very hard too. Holding the pom-poms up
Yeah.
was an ordeal, but it was a lot of hard work, and you couldn't miss the practices. When I went
How many practices would you say you had a week?
2 a week, and you could not miss them. When I went to film Thief, they
Yeah.
took me to California. I had to get written permission that I could be off for 2 weeks, and they wanted me to stay to do more scenes. And they said, if you don't come back, you're off the squad. And I talked to Michael Mann, who was our director for Thief, and they said, go ahead. Any other scenes we need to do? A lot of scenes were cut that I was in with Thief, but he said, we can always do them later. But yeah, you couldn't miss. I had to get written permission to take off for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah,
See
it
that?
was rough. Yeah.
Well,
And
let me
then
ask you-
during those 2 weeks, I did promotions. I did charitable work, anything I could. I loved it. I loved being in the limelight. It was wonderful.
Well, it seemed like you're natural at stuff that you are and what you do. Patty, what was the camaraderie like when you were with them? How many honey women actually made the squad of the Honey Bears? How many?
We had 28 girls. So you had the 8 because we would be around the field.
Yeah.
And then you had 12 alternates. The girls were wonderful. They were great. Even to this day, it's like a sorority where but the girls got along with each other wonderful. They all helped each other out. It was great. And to this day, it's wonderful. Even with the alumni and the other squads from the United States with the Bears. But yeah, it's really a good situation. They're good friends, dear friends.
Tell us about a lady named Coach Kathy Core. If I'm right, Kathy Core. What was she like?
The coach, she was the best. She was our coach. And mind you, she was going to be a nun. She was going to be a nun. And she married Joe, the fella she's married to now. And they contacted her to come to Chicago. She was our coach. Very supportive. She was wonderful. Tough. She was tough. You couldn't mess around, but she was supportive, encouraging. I love the coach. She went on after the Honey Bears. She went on to be the Lovables coach.
Okay,
When
sure.
the Honey Bears disbanded, she went on and coached the Lovables for the Chicago Bulls.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, she's a great lady. Wonderful.
Very important part of you. Now, of course, Patty, Italian last name, Grammarosa. Where did you come up with Patty Ross? Was that before you became a Honey Bear, or was that your acting stage name?
That's my acting stage name. Now, when I had pictures taken and headshots, I went into these agents and they said, you can't use that name, Grammarosa. Nobody's going to remember you.
Yeah,
Well, my father, who you know,
sure. What a very great gentleman. What a great, and a great dancer too, by the way.
Thank you. It wasn't easy raising him, I got to tell you. But so Dad would always use the name at restaurants and stuff. It would always be Ross. He'd say, I'm Vinnie Ross, you know. And so they said, you need a name. You need it right now. We got to put it on the pictures. I said, Ross. And so that's where that name came from, because they told me it in this day and age, you could use your last name, but then they would have never remembered,
right,
you know, Ross. And
it's
all the
like,
guys.
yeah, it's like my real name is Maurizio Carrara,
Maurizio.
and back then nobody could pronounce it, so we had to change it. But right now, if you started, they like those ethnic type names now. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So it's true. It's true. But then nobody could pronounce my first name, which was Patrice, but nobody called me Patrice. I was always Patty. They call me Patrice in my office where I work, but they don't. Yeah. Yeah.
You're watching Ocean Spit, the little show about big things, folks. Our good friend Patty Ross, of course, actress, model, of course, former Honey Bear for the Chicago Bears. Time for a quick sponsor, folks. Let's thank our good friends from Deutz Power Center. That's Deutz Power Center, bottom of the screen right there, folks. Servicing the construction and diesel industry for the last 100 years. Call our friend Sal at Deutz Power Center, 224-276-6550. Patty Ross, former Chicago Bear, Honey Bears. Okay, so a lot of good things over here, a lot of different stories, a lot of different stuff. Now, here's a couple of questions we're going to ask, of course, which are also in the book. They didn't last that long, the Honey Bears, right? You were with them from what, a year and a half?
I was with them for 2 years, from 79 to 80. I was 79, 80. Now, they started in 70, when did they? 76.
All right.
And so they started, of course, Papa Bear Hallis. He loved the dancing girls. The Bears were not doing well. The sales were not doing well. So he thought by hiring dancing girls, it would help the sales, help more fans, get more inspired. So he wanted the Honey Bears. So the Honey Bears started in 77. They tried out in 76. I believe it was 77. And they had a contract, a 10-year contract. Now, it was not good when the Honey Bears, before my time, the girls that were approached for Playboy and Penthouse.
Sure.
They did that. That was not so good. But Papa Bear, he liked it because there was publicity.
Right.
Now, Papa Bear passed away, 83. When he passed away, Virginia, his daughter, she didn't have a good feeling for the Honey Bears. She didn't like the women on the sidelines. She tried to disband them, which was not going to happen because we had a contract. We had
right. And I think the Papa did say, as long as I'm still alive, there'll always be Honey Bears, according to a quote in the book here. There would always be Honey Bears. So you think she felt intimidated by it? I mean, what would be her reason not to like you girls?
I have no idea. I don't know what the problem was. We did so many fundraisers. It was great. I mean, I worked with Little City, the fundraisers. I mean, we weren't so exposed sexually, with the outfits that it would intimidate her. I really do not know. Now, they did not say anything to the girls until right after the Super Bowl that they were disbanded and there'll be no more Honey Bears.
Right.
There was talk of what was going on with my agent and with Coach Core, but it was really sad. The girls had no idea. They were so up for the Super Bowl. They win, and then they get on the plane to go home, and they said, "That's it.
That's
It's
it.
over."
You're done. I mean,
Yeah.
after Super Bowl and after, I mean, ticket sales, seeing that merchandise and stuff like that had to be huge when you guys finally got when they used to see the Honey Bears. It was a lot of fun for everybody. Families used to like it too. Of course, the men liked it probably more than the women did, but it was cool. I mean, it was a big thing back then.
It was a really big thing. It was great. We had merchandise. My poster, we did a poster. The first poster was 4 of us. It sold in Kmart, in all the stores, J.C. Penney's. I mean, it was big time, and it was wonderful because we had that avenue and that vehicle to do. I did work with the Italian, Chicagoland Italian American Charitable Organization.
Sure, fantastic.
The boxing with Bobby Hitz, he did work with that, and
sure.
We did fundraisers with them. We did it for Little City. I mean, it was so wonderful to have that vehicle to do that. And we now are still, I've been in touch with Shriners Hospital for the babies that are in there. And we're going to do some fundraisers there. So, in book signings. So if anybody needs us to do any fundraisers or book signings, we're available.
Absolutely. I love that. Patty, now you're on the field, 28 of you, whatever it is, 12, how many were on there? Was it distraction? What was the feeling of the players when the girls first came out, like when it first started coming around? What was the players saying? Did it distract them? Did they like it? Were they happy with it? Obviously, some probably liked it, some probably didn't. What was the word around the field there?
Well, the guys, we were not allowed to date them. Okay. Sure. We could be friends. I did fundraisers with them. I don't think we distracted them as much as we distracted the other teams.
Yeah.
But our guys were great. I mean, I was friends with them. I didn't date them. I mean, we had the ability to date baseball players, hockey players. So the football was, the guys, I don't think were too distracted. Our guys did really well. What was wonderful is I'm on the field. We're on the field. I'm right in front of Peyton. I'm right in front of all these guys that were playing. I mean, I saw that game firsthand. I think they were pretty focused. I don't think we distracted them at all.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys get hit on by the players, even though you guys couldn't date them? Did they know they couldn't date you guys? Or was it a rule that was said from you guys?
Well, that was a rule that we got from Kathy Core and from the organization.
Sure.
There were a couple guys that would hit on. I wasn't going to mess around because I didn't care. Danny Hampton was a great guy. Ted Albrecht. I've golfed recently, not recently, the last couple of years with, Jim McMahon.
Yeah.
I didn't give them the opportunity to hit, but with the girls, there was a little bit of,
Of course, great characters. We just did a show with Jim McMahon a couple of Fridays ago in Arizona. We did. Great guy. I used to do a lot of stuff for Walter Payton. I even did his memorial when he passed away. I worked for Mike Ditka. How was the Ditka towards the girls? What was his?
Oh, Ditka's great. When we did the book launching, Tony, he was wonderful. He sat at my table with his wife. He's a gruff old goat, nice guy. And he was really good with the girls. He kind of liked the girls being around. He was gruff. He did a lot of pictures at the book launching. He sat with me. Him and his wife sat at my table when we did that. So a lot of my friends had pictures taken with him. He only stayed for about an hour and a half, but in that time, he was all right. He's gruff. He's of that. But he was a great coach, and with the girls, he's all right. I think he liked being around the girls myself.
Well, yeah, of course he was. Ditka used to come. I worked for him before I went to Jilly's downtown on Rush Street. I used to work for the Dick. He was a great guy, and he's the coach, man. He's the coach. Let's think of some questions that were said. This is also on the back of the book. Why were the Honey Bears disbanded? Was it, you think, the Playboy scandal? What do you really think really happened?
What do I think happened? I do
Yeah.
not think it was a Playboy scandal. I just think that Virginia McCaskey kind of did not approve of her father's love of dancing girls and to raise money for the Bears. And I think she felt that she was in charge and it was going to be her way.
Sure.
But
How was she to you guys when he was still alive? How did she react with you girls while he was still there present?
well, I didn't have that much interaction with her. I would write him thank you notes. We went to Florida, we went to away games. When it would be a wonderful game, I would write notes. He was very gracious. They'd send notes back to me. And I didn't have that much interaction with her. She would be with her father, and that would be it, but not too much interaction with her, Tony.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. And you know what? I've never met the lady, but seems like she could be pretty tough, to run a team like that. And a lot of people say that the reason why the Bears are not successful is because of the McCaskey family holding them back. But who knows? You know what I mean? A lot of decisions are going to be different. The Bears now may be coming to Arlington Heights with a new contract. That could be good for a lot of things. I don't know. I'm not much of a Bears fan. My kids are. I'm a Giants fan, but the Bears are Chicago, so you gotta do what you gotta do. But that's an incredible a story that you had. Do you think that curse will ever be lifted, like the book says?
You got to read the book. I believe in curses.
Yeah.
They haven't done well. Well, you have to
think
read
that
the
if
book
that-
and decide for yourself. But there's something going on there.
There's
Absolutely.
something there. Is there still cheerleaders? With how many teams still have them?
There's
all
a
of them?
lot of teams have it. There's only about 5 that do not have them.
Okay, that do not.
You've got Minnesota. I believe they have different colleges that cheer, but there's
Okay.
only about 4 to 5 teams that don't have them. We are involved with the NFL alumni, which we're going to have a get together in July down in Florida.
Mhm.
But there's only about 5 that don't have them. It's really sad that Chicago does not, just for the fact that it would be really good. Chicago fans are the best.
Sure.
They are wonderful. And it would be really good. You could do more fundraisers. You could do a lot more. And I think it would be good for the team.
I think it would be good. We got a lot of people that came in. Our good buddy Donald, who plays impersonator to Mike Ditka. I guess you guys met a couple of times. He's a nice guy. He did a great job, I thought, as the coach. I thought he would do that. Very cool. Patty, do you think that if McCaskey is gone, you think they might bring back the Honey Bears? If the family is gone, bring back like a new generation of it, or you think it's done?
I do believe that they would do that. That would be wise. That would be a good business move. If you're talking business and the game I think it would be a good move. And yes, I think that they would bring in cheerleaders. Yes.
Absolutely. How was the feeling of the 1985 Super Bowl? You guys, what was the Super Bowl shuffle? They had this, they had that. What excitement for people it hasn't happened a lot in Chicago with the Bears. I think it happened to the Cubs once, Sox twice, the Hawks won a few, the Bulls won a few. But how was it on those sidelines? Here they are, Super Bowl, big game against the Saints, the last game where they blew them out of the water. What was it like? What was the feeling like?
No, I wasn't there for that game, but the fact was it was exciting, exuberating. Everybody was at that time the team really clicked. Yeah, Ditka, everybody was clicking. The cheerleaders, everything just went together. And the exuberance and the excitement I think, had a lot to do with them, with the game and everything. Yeah, and winning. I think that had a lot to do with it.
That had to be huge. It was really big for Chicago. Now, when
Yeah.
you did 2 days a week, you practiced, and then you guys played on home games, or did you guys do away games as well?
We did home games, but we were able to do one away game, and we chose Florida. And
Okay.
that's the games that we did. like I said, during games and during football, if it was away game, I was doing books, personal appearances, signing autographs,
Sure.
and I was always working during that. So I was blessed to get all that work.
You were always doing something. Yeah.
Yes.
When you guys weren't doing your routines, you guys weren't on the sidelines. You went back into the dugout, right? Wherever that was, wherever they go to.
Yeah, the locker room.
The locker.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys had to hang in there, and then they would tell you to come back out again and do your thing. How long were you actually on the field doing your stuff?
Most of the time, except for halftime.
Just for halftime.
And just for halftime. But I'll tell you, when it was 18 degrees and that wind was blowing off of Lake Michigan,
yeah,
we had the choice to stay out there and watch the game or go back in. Well, we had like leggings, and we had a little hat. I would want to stay out and watch the game.
Sure.
But I got to tell you, it was so cold.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and you couldn't have a little sip to warm you up with something. So yeah, you guys were out there cold.
It was cold, and if there was only a couple girls out there, we were just standing with our pom-poms and our gloves on, and not doing routines, just cheering on. And I would like to watch the game because I was in all the. I didn't want to sit in the locker room, no matter how cold it was. I was right there.
You wanted to watch the game. Patty, what did you think of the uniforms, the iconic white boots, and how did that start? Do you know who came up with that concept, that idea?
I believe that Kathy Core coordinated with Sharon Cooper, who was our agent, and they came up with that. I have to tell you, we were covered. That shirt, and I still have my uniform, and I can fit into it.
There you go.
Yeah, I took a picture the other day in the reflection in the mirror. Can you believe it?
Very cool.
Yeah. So our uniform, I had golfed with the other cheerleaders from around the country. And those girls had their midriff at that time exposed. They were really sexy. They were beautiful. And there I am in one piece. I took my boots off. I put my golf shoes on. I thought, I'm going to win this thing. And the uniforms, I think, were very classy. I mean, they were low cut. It depended on, we went from I wore navy blue. I went through a couple of uniforms.
Sure.
There were navy blue sleeves, orange sleeves, and then they had the sparkly sleeves. I think our uniforms were pretty classy, but sexy. They weren't exposed completely, but they were sexy. And I always felt good in it. I always liked our uniforms.
Patty, did they make you buy those, or did they supply the uniforms for you?
They gave those uniforms to us. And of course, they paid us $15 a game.
Okay.
But it wasn't that money. The money that I made a lot of money during those years with endorsements.
Sure. Yeah.
I had endorsements from the Italian U-boat, I could name the companies that hired me to do their endorsements or their photos, but we made no money on the field. That was the $15 to clean the uniforms.
Clean the uniforms. Patty, was there any close calls with any players maybe coming, catching the ball or running off field and hitting one of you? Did any Honey Bears ever get hurt during the game?
Almost, but yeah, almost. In fact, when they went to tackle Peyton the one time, they went right into me, just missed me. Yeah, but they didn't injure anyone. Thank goodness.
Thank God. It's great, because you could definitely get hurt with something like that.
Absolutely.
You're acting with Chuck Norris. You were younger at that time. Did you get a chance? Was Chuck pretty cool?
Oh, he was very cool. Usually I can go up to someone right away and I feel very confident. He came right up to me. My friends that were at Second City, everybody said, call Patty for this role. I needed the work.
Sure.
And they called me, and Chuck was a gentleman. His brother was on the set. He was a good guy. Yeah, he was very nice. Very nice. I've been very blessed with everybody's been good to me.
That's fantastic. Let's go on the other hand. I met Jim Belushi a few times. How was Jim? Did you ever meet his brother,
Jimmy,
John?
I had met, John. I was friends with Murphy Dunn, whose father was George Dunn from the Forest Preserves in Chicago.
Right.
And Murphy was the piano player in the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
So Murphy and I were friends. We went to see John and Danny. They were
Yeah.
doing a Blues Brother thing. And Johnny was wild. I mean, he drank Stolshanoya vodka. Danny, he drank his beers, but
Yeah.
Johnny was wild. Let me tell you, he was wild. And Jimmy was my first movie husband. He's the best. He was very good to me. We had fun. I had to go out to California. I was with him. He was my buddy. He's a good guy. Jimmy's a good
He's
guy.
doing pretty well with his marijuana show. He's got a show, Raising Pot or something, whatever. And Aykroyd's still doing the vodka thing, and him and Jim will go out and do the Blues Brothers. Here's the question: how was James Kahn like? I mean, I heard a lot of different stories about Jim. Great actor, I always thought. Was he same way as he was on screen? As he off screen?
He was, well, to me, those guys were really good. Everybody I knew and friends of our family was on the set, working on the set. And Jimmy was good to me. He could be really a smart aleck, but then I grew up with guys like that, Like, to me, he was very good. His brother was also not his brother. Maybe it was his brother, but Jerry Buckheimer, who was a producer, his brother, and those guys, they'd all include me with the guys when they'd go out for dinner or whatever. They were very good to me. And Jimmy was good to me, but I've seen Jimmy with some people be a real smart ass.
Yeah, I can imagine. We have some questions coming in from people, listeners, from our friend Emil, of course. Emil, how you doing, my brother? The Honey Bears, now they weren't all blondes, were they, Patty?
Oh gosh, no. Renee, who wrote the book,
yes.
She's a brunette. My girlfriend Patty Luisi, she was the Patty with the dark hair. I was the Patty with the blonde hair. No, everybody, there were redheads. There was my girlfriend who passed away, that Gail was redhead. She was beautiful. No, it was all a variety. The girls were a variety. So they weren't all blondes.
There you go. I mean, one time, if you remember the 70s, it was blondes always have more fun. And it was like the blondes all got the TV shows, they got the commercials, they got the thing. And then later on, it changed a little bit to the brunettes and whatchamacallit. But Patty, what after the Honey Bears disbanded, what did you end up? Yeah, obviously you stayed with your acting and stuff. What else did you do after that you kind of liked and did you enjoy doing?
Okay, after the Honey Bears, I did Crime Stories. I'd have to look at my resume. I did TV shows, Chicago Story, that only lasted, I was doing my acting. And after that, my family had a pizzeria. And of course, that was my brother's, called Stefano's, and I wanted my own. So my father got me a pizzeria called Patty Stefano's. So I worked in the restaurant.
There you go.
Yeah, because I had to have my own.
Oh, it's the same thing. Restaurant, cheerleader, actor, singer. It's you got to be an actor when you're doing that kind of work, no matter what it is. A couple of interesting stuff. People asking, do you know a lady named Colleen Burke?
Yes, Colleen's a sweetheart. She's a dear friend.
Okay,
yes.
I did not know that Cheryl Burton was a honey bear.
Cheryl Burton was a honey bear, yes.
Okay, there's some people that are asking these questions here. Green Bay Packers have their cheerleaders out the whole game. My good friend Pat Lenzini from Highwood. Okay, they were out the whole game. And it's got to be even colder in Wisconsin. That's for sure, right?
Cold.
Absolutely. Papa Bear Hallis is quoted right on the front cover, quote, "As long as I'm alive, yeah, we're dancing girls on the sidelines," unquote. Yeah, Donald, that's true of that. It was a great book, by the way. Have they tried to make a movie out of this?
Yeah, well, the book, Renee is working on whether it's a movie or a TV show. I don't know. I don't even want to say yet, but yeah, hopefully. we'll see what happens. Wouldn't that be fun?
Absolutely.
I think so.
People would like to know more about stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
It's very important. Patty, it's just great having you on the show and coming out with your father and supporting me at Chicago Prime. I need to thank you so much for that. Let me ask you something. As a honey bear
Honey bunny.
as a honey bear in the spotlight, it had to be difficult for dating, correct? I mean, I got to do this. Can't go out with you tonight. Got to go do that. Got to do this. Always on the spotlight. Honey, do you have some time? I mean, you're always out there, and even when you're out there, you're on 24 hours. It had to be a little difficult.
As far as dating, my work came first. I dated, like I said, I didn't date football players, a baseball player, a hockey player, songwriter, Vanelli, but the dating at that point wasn't, my career was important. And I really wasn't ready to start getting involved with, no one at that time was who I was interested. I had good friends, but I wasn't going to be dating. That wasn't my thing. I wanted to work.
You put it out there first, which most people do. Let me ask you another thing. Was it hard when you made the team? Was your dad, was he kind of cool? All right, go out and do it. Or was he a little hesitant? Because that's my little girl, right? I mean, come on.
When I made the team.
As an Italian father,
Wait, Tony, when I made the team, he said to me, we've sent you to dancing school, acting school, singing school. You're going to be a cheerleader your whole life. What are you, mama? And they start, right? And you know what, Tony? He was on the field for every game. Then he was very, very proud. We had a party at my house with all the players, all the cheerleaders. I remember we had a pool in the yard, so we had everybody come. He loved it. But yeah, when I made the Honey Bears, he said, "Oh my God, we sent her to school for all this, and now she's going to be a professional cheerleader." He loved it.
God! Oh, that's unbelievable. Ocean's Pit, the little show about big things. Our good friend Patty, a former Honey Bear. Patty, if you had advice for some of the young people that might be watching, especially a young girl that wants to get into acting, dancing, or anything like that, what advice can you give the younger generation? Because remember, it's a different world now. What would you say to these girls?
I would say just go for it. Go for it. Do what you want. Have faith in yourself. For the girls and boys, it's easier. Now, I think if you go for it and have faith in what you're doing, go for it and do it. That's all I have to say.
And how do they know, Patty, who it's a real, you might have people approach them. How do you know it's a real company or real people and you're not just some pervert out there or some guys out there? I mean, there's a lot of work that you can do when they give you names of companies. There's, stuff that you can add, but that's got to be another tricky part when your whole life growing up and there's always people saying this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do, and then you hear all the crazy stories, so it's got to be very difficult.
It's very difficult. You want to go to the number one agencies. I did have situations like that, but I have to say when it occurred, I always had everybody to back me up, that in the neighborhood, everybody knew who I was. So they didn't mess around with me. I would just go and find out who it was. But you want to make sure that they're not full of baloney is all I have to say. But yeah, be very careful. I never trusted anyone like that, though. Yeah.
And you know what? It's got to be difficult. I mean, some random stranger comes up to you and says, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I hear this all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So you got to give them that. Two more questions I got to ask you. You met a lot of people in your field of work. I need to know who was the biggest awe you met the person, either a man or a woman, that was like just took your breath away and was cool. Who would you say that was?
Frank Sinatra.
Oh, St. Francis. God bless.
Yes.
Yes. How was that meeting?
He was the best. He was the best. Now, when I was younger, I snuck into the amphitheater down at McCormick Place. The Teamsters got me in there. He had a show. Well, they caught me, and the priest let me sit in the front row. Then they brought me to meet Frank. And from that point on, when I was in Las Vegas, it's in the stories in the book. He was really, really good, respectful. I felt like I was with my uncle. He was very good to me.
Very cool.
I was in awe with him. I love him. Yeah, he's the best.
Let me go on the other side then. Who was someone who was a real jerk off? Now you don't have to. You could have to say if you don't want, but somebody that you thought might have been really cool and ended up being a real,
There was an actor, and I don't even want to say his name.
Okay.
And sometimes they'd have you come and audition. And I thought, well, he's an Italian actor, he wanted me to come and audition. I went up to the room. I have with directors, Michael Mann, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he came at me. Well, I gave him a pop across the face. Then he said very bad things to me. I came home. I told everybody what happened. I don't know. The next day he sent a fruit basket and told me I would be very successful. Whoever talked to him. But he was a real jerk. Tony, he was so bad. And I gave him a crack in the face. I thought, you better get away from me. And I came home. I told everybody. I don't know who went to talk to him. But like I said, the next day a fruit basket came to the house saying I would be successful. And it was nice meeting me. But he was a jerk. Yeah. I did have an experience.
And unfortunately, like you said, that does happen in the field that what you do. You hear so many stories with directors and people that the casting couch and all that to get into, look at the stories with the film producers that were just and Bill Cosby and all that. I mean, this is crazy, this world. And you know what, Patty? And this world right now is even worse. I just don't know what's going to happen to our kids or grandkids and stuff like that. The future, we're just, I just wish we could go back to the days where things were a little bit more simpler, but who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank my good friend Patty for being on. Missing from the Sidelines, the Untold Stories of Chicago Honey Bears cheerleaders. Maybe a TV series would be kind of cool, or maybe a TV movie or something. But folks, Patty, if they want to hire you guys for fundraisers or anything like that, how do they get a hold of you? How would they do this?
Go to Missing from the Sidelines on Facebook or Instagram. You can order a book.
Okay.
You can get us to do fundraisers. We'll do book signings. That would be wonderful. Please.
That's great.
That would be great. Tony, I just want to say you're brilliant. You're an entertainer. And thank you for everything you do. You really are terrific. My father and myself, we love you, my whole family. You do a tremendous job. You're kind to everybody up on stage, and you remember everyone. That's
I
important.
try.
You're very sincere. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you much for your time. Give my best to your father and your family, and God bless you, everybody. Don't forget, check it out. Pick up the book called Missing on the Sidelines, folks. Read the story of Patty and so many other people. It's a great book. It's a big book with a lot of interesting stories in it. Thank you, Patty. God bless you. Have a great day.
God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. A big show about big things, folks. And, usually our guests are only on for a half hour, but you know what? I just had to keep going because I just love talking to Patty about that. And it was great stuff. Let me just say a couple other quick things, folks. We do have a couple birthdays we need to shout out there. My good friend Phyllis Sahajas, of course, the wife of Nick Sahajas, the piano man from Chicago. Phyllis, happy birthday, my dear friend. My good friend, of course, Dan Menotti, Carol's husband. Danny, how you doing, brother? Happy Fool's Day. Happy April Fool's Day. Happy birthday. John Poulos, the original drummer from the Buckinghams, celebrates a birthday. Another great band from Chicago. Eric Turner from the rock band Warrant celebrates a birthday today. How about one of my favorite actresses growing up as a kid, the great Shirley Jones? Remember her in Broadway, Oklahoma. Of course, you better know her as Mrs. Partridge. Of course, Shirley Jones. Joey LaRusso. Joe, I love you, brother, wherever you're at. I hope you're doing great, buddy. Happy birthday. Frankie Lane, the great singer, Mule Train, and I believe the great Frankie Lane celebrates a birthday. Chicago journalist, the great Dean Richards, celebrates a birthday. You know, Dean talking about movies and talking about Chicago. Happy birthday, Dean. And Melissa Anderson Hovey, of course, the better half of BJ Murray, celebrates a birthday. Melissa, happy birthday. And Eddie Volkman, of course, remember our good buddy Jopo and Eddie. Thank you so much for that. And my good buddy Anthony and Dominic, happy birthday to Blackjack's Gentlemen's Club. Many years they started. They're great. The Batia family, great people. Happy birthday there, folks. All right, so we still have some stuff. We only got a few. We got about 3-4 minutes left. Don't forget now, tonight we'll be at Chicago Prime Steakhouse with the return of Ryan O'Ryan. Tomorrow we'll be at River Cafe, and that's going to be in River Grove. That's an 8 o'clock hit. Next Thursday and the first Thursday of every month, we're at Zaza's Cucina, Zaza's in Lake Barrington. We're there the first Thursday of every month. We'll be there next Thursday. Next Friday we'll be at next Saturday, Tavern on the Point in Edison Park, and the next Sunday at the Speakeasy, Club Arcada Speakeasy, guys, produced by Ron Onesti. Now, folks, don't forget, for every Friday, we are still at Chicago Prime every Friday. Our next road show will be April. Now, we just got back, like you said, if you're just tuning in, folks. A month ago, we were in Mexico, enjoying a little trip out there, but then we had to go to work. We were in Florida. I did 4 nights out there, beautiful. Did a couple of shows at the Venice Community Center with my buddy Greg Reedy, of course, the Windy City Boys. And then we were in Stero, Florida. And then we came back one day, and then we were off to Arizona doing the show there for Jim McMahon. Of course, we did that on 2 Fridays ago. And then Saturday was Chicago Fest West, which we're going back. We just got word we'll be back there again next year, the same date, 17th, 18th, and 19th of March for Chicago Fest West Fest in 2023 in March. So thank you, Big Mike, for hiring us back. Oceans Rat Pack, the guys will be back. We'll be going to St. Louis, Missouri on Sunday, April 24th at the Casa Loma Ballroom. It's a beautiful ballroom, folks. It's Rat Pack. Of course, I play Dean. Bill Saratella plays Frank Sinatra. Elliot Wimbush plays Sammy Davis. And that show, of course, will be with Everett Dean, who plays who plays Elvis Presley. So it's the Rat Pack meeting the Elvis, and that's going to be at the Casa Loma Ballroom on the 24th. And our big show, of course, folks, a Sunday, May 29th. It's going to be my 30th anniversary show at the beautiful Des Plaines Theater, produced by Ron Onesti. It's going to be a great time. Oshows.com. Get your tickets. You got the Jersey Girls, the Dream Police, of course, the Rat Pack, and so many other great singers backed up by a great band. WrestleMania 38. That's right, Richard Captain. Wrestling this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We're excited. I hope Roman takes it all, baby. I hope Roman takes it all. Randy Orton's birthday today. Thank you, Richard. Of course, Debbie Reynolds' birthday today. Another great actress, the great, absolutely. Thank you, Jerry Jams. Richard, thank you guys so much for watching the show. Patty Lenzini, don't forget you got Girls Night Out coming out in Highwood. Patty, I hope you're doing well. Marion and Don, thank you guys so much. Robert Provenzano. The list goes on if you guys keep watching the show. We really appreciate it. Some more great stuff. But we are just running out of time. And so don't forget, we'll be back on Monday, folks. And we got some more great guests coming up. Please, I want to thank our 2 more sponsors before we say goodbye. Let's thank our friends from Portillo's. Nothing beats Portillo's, folks. And if you're looking for a fundraiser for a nonprofit organization, Portillo's, our son, works for the marketing department. And folks, they're good at giving you these special fundraisers that you can use with Portillo's help. If you're interested, you call our son Joe at 224-636-3646 or jfank@portillos.com. And let's not forget, folks, last but not least, one of our sponsors, one of the best, Patriot Funding Incorporated, folks. That's right. It's Patriot Funding Incorporated, money lending at its finest. Dave Antonelli from Roselle, Illinois, commercial money lending. They can give you all you need to get your money for your business right here. Patriot Funding Incorporated. Give them a call at 630-675-4730. Check the website, TonyOceanMusic.com. And to book a show, give us a call at 847-769-8609. A lot of great stuff happening. And, it's important to go out and support local establishments, mom and pop organizations, support live entertainment, support any friend. Look, anybody that's going through some shit right now, my prayers go out to my good friend Susan Jambroni, my good friend Karen Serpico, my good friend George Tark on their second shot with making sure that you'll be okay with cancer, man. You know, this is a horrible thing that's happening here. So we got to make sure that my good friend Denise up there, Denise Deanna, honey, I hope you're listening. I love you, honey. Get better so you can come home. We need a couple more drinks together. And I want to thank you all for being on the show, guys. And remember, in the great words of Ringo Starr, peace and love. Peace and love. Love everybody. Thank you, Patty, for your Chicago Honey Bear in the house. How cool is that? Hope to see you guys soon. Have a great weekend, folks. Please be kind, be safe. Nick Sahajas, take us out.
Time to go, it's the end of the show. See you later from Tony O.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great